Hey, Albert here. Welcome back. I'm all out of sorts. Did I mess with this? What's going on? Welcome back. Another episode, number one podcast in motocross. We are recording there. I think it's good. I think we're off to the races. Solo episode. These are everybody's favorite. Just kidding. Today's going to be the shortest one of all time. Maybe not. I'm going to answer some of your guys' questions. I'm going to talk a little bit about the England trip, even though we talked about basically the whole trip with Allie. There's a couple things specifically I want to talk about from that trip and the dirt bike experiences I had there, which I did not talk with Allie about. And then but before I do that, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to plug some tour dates. If you guys want to train with us in person, go to themotoacademy.com. If you want to train with us online, also go to themotoacademy.com and subscribe to our app. The new Moto Academy 2.0 app is stupidly awesome. It's the best thing ever invented. It is the best community in the entire world, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you that are in there. We've had more new members joining the last 8 weeks or so than we've ever had, period, and it just is ramping up. So it's exciting. The app was one of those things where it was kind of hard to educate people on what exactly it was. I think there was probably a lot of like confusion at first. What is this app? And now I think people are starting to get it. I think people are understanding what it means to have a community on an online platform. There's courses inside of the app. I mean, there's absolutely everything. I just gave away my straight rhythm 2-stroke, and shout out Brandon C, who won it. And we're giving away a trip next. We give away stuff all the time, and it's amazing. And I'm grateful for those guys in there. Tour dates, come join us June 22nd. Probably is going to have come and gone by the time this podcast comes out. That is in Michigan, Super Coupe MX. June 27th, Coach Mitchell going to Minnesota. He's just driving because he's from Minnesota Mitch. That is BP 73 Moto Ranch. Never heard of it. I'm sure it's an amazing track. That will be our first time there, which is exciting. That's kind of what we're doing. Coach Mitchell he's like the Christopher Columbus. He is like, who are the two guys that walked a lot in the United States to explore? I think they were the ones that met Sacagawea at one point. Don't know their names, but basically that's Mitchell. And he goes out and explores. He reports back to the team, lets us know if it's a place worth going back. And then your boy shows up and really just turns things up a notch. Just kidding. Coach Mitchell is unbelievable. If anything, they like Coach Mitchell more because, guys, I need positive reviews too. We send out surveys at the end of each class. I get Instagram messages. we get emails. People are loving Coach Mitchell. The amount of positive reviews for that guy is unbelievable. And do you want to know how many positive reviews I get? Not as many. Not even close to as many. So maybe people take me for granted. Maybe they expect that I'm going to be good, and then I show up and I am good. Maybe they don't know what to expect when Coach Mitchell is there, and then he just blows the expectations out of the water. Or maybe Coach Mitchell is just that much better than me. I don't know what's going on. But I tell you what, he's killing the game. June 28th, Martin, Michigan, Martin MX. That's going to be myself. Love that place. For some reason, I can't remember what that track is. Martin MX. Oh, yeah, I know what track that is. Yeah, it's amazing. That one will sell out, guaranteed, June 28th. So sign up for that one. June 28th, that's coming up in like a week. Didn't know I was going to Martin MX in a week. June 30th. Oh, by the way, that one is sold out. It's got one spot left, so good luck getting in there. June 30th, Oak Ridge MX, Iowa. That's a Coach Mitchell class. July 1st, I'm coming back to 508 International in Massachusetts. That should be awesome. That one's filling up quite a bit. July 18th, Mastering the Basics class featuring Coach Mitchell. That's in Albany, Oregon. Those classes are designed for people that are maybe first time going to ride a track. Maybe they're pretty new to riding, period. Maybe they're brand new to riding, period. Or maybe they just want a complete technique reset without being thrown into a class environment, a normal class environment that is not advanced by any means, but slightly more intimidating. We're riding the track. We're mastering the basics. You're doing like drills with cones, keeping it very, very simple. July 19th, Coach Mitchell will have a normal class at Albany MX. July 19th, I am teaming up with Tyler Medaglia, and we're going to Deschambault in Quebec. Shout out Quebec. Shout out Canada. July 21st, Whispering Pines MX. Coach Mitchell is going to British Columbia. July 26th, Coach Mitchell is going to Promised Land MX in Maryland. July 28th, I'm going to Winchester Speed Park in New Hampshire. While simultaneously, Coach Mitchell will be July 28th at Sugar Maple MX in Wisconsin. And that's all of our July dates. We've got dates booked all the way through August, all the way through September, and all the way through October, and some November, and some December dates. Holy cow, we have so much on the website. Don't forget, when you scroll down, click to the second page. There are more dates on the second page. But sign up. You can get VIP tickets, you can get non-refundable ticket, a refundable ticket, or you can get just a spectator ticket to come watch class and kind of be a fly on the wall and just hang by me for the day for only $50. So if you want a low entry point to go and learn, that's the way to do it. The tour shirts you can now purchase online as well. With your when you sign up for the class, you also will now have the option to buy your tour shirt ahead of time. So that way you can show up to class. Now, I'm not firing on all syllables today. I got to slow down. You can show up to class with your tour shirt already, like you own the place. Pretty cool. Oh, also, this episode is sponsored by Element. drinklmnt.com/AJCat330. We just signed on for another like 6 months with Element. It's looking like the sponsorship will be basically an indefinite thing at this point, which is awesome because I live on this stuff. I am hydrated like nobody's business. I sleep amazing. I have good energy all the time. I never have headaches. I just feel good. And I really do think that a big part of it is that I hydrate the right way. I really, really believe that. It's one of the main reasons my only two sponsors are Fox and Element. That's for a reason. It's not that I can't get sponsors, or maybe that's it, but it's that I only pick things that I really, really, really love. Guess what I'm gonna do? We're gonna dive into podcast questions. You can ask these questions by being inside of the app. You can submit them anywhere on the app, I think, and just use the hashtag podcast questions. And then that's how I sort it out and be able to weed through, find your guys' stuff. I don't have, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 7 questions. So pretty good. That will take us right through probably a good 45-minute episode here. I have, since my last solo episode, got a lot of positive reviews on the 35 to 45-minute solo episodes. So people seem to like them. Thank you guys. I enjoy doing them. I was just concerned that maybe they were too short or that it was boring, that it was just me. But thank you guys. By the way, start a podcast. I don't care who you are. If you think you're a nobody, if you think you got nothing to talk about, nobody's a nobody. Everybody's got something to talk about. It is great practice to sit here and try to not fumble over your words when you're not talking to somebody and you're just trying to talk to a camera about nothing. It's good practice to sit here and be able to not say and stall every 2 seconds. Even right there, I wanted to say but I stopped myself. It's okay to have pauses, to take breaks. All of these things are good practices with your speech. If you're going to start a podcast just for that reason, just to practice your public speaking, just to practice your speaking, period. Okay, thought I answered that one. Hang on, I got to figure out where to start. Okay, answered that one. So we're going to start here. Thank you guys for sending these in, by the way. App people, absolute shout out. Love you guys. Really, they're family. I mean, everybody in this app is straight up family. And you guys have made this possible. You have made Moto Academy what it is. If it wasn't for everybody in Patreon, everybody in the first version of the app, everybody in the app now, Moto Academy would have never morphed from AJ Catanzaro Moto X Academy to what it is. It would never have been able to scale to the amount of employees that we have now, training new trainers, to bring more coaches onto the team, to be able to become a global brand. It's stupidly, ridiculously awesome. And it is quite literally only because of all of you inside of the app. And of course, all of you that go to classes in person as well. But the app is just, I mean, I'll stop talking about it. It's cool. Red Wolf Racing. Shout out Derek, what Red Wolf Racing. Say that 10 times over. Can you break down what Loretta Lynn's is? From like who can qualify, how to qualify, to let's say winning in your class, what happens after you win, what is the importance of Loretta Lynn's, is it worth it for vet riders to try and qualify? Great question. A lot of people might not like my answer. I'm going to answer one thing at a time here. Can you break down what Loretta Lynn's is? Who can qualify? Anybody can try and qualify. The way Loretta's works, which I think this is an interesting process, it's kind of cool because it does weed. It's difficult and it weeds out the best. By the time you get to Loretta's, it truly is, for the most part, the top 40 guys in that class. You go to an area qualifier, which is your region of riders. I think in my day, maybe it was top 7 that they would take from that. Would then qualify to the next step, which is the regional qualifier, which maybe was a slightly bigger region. It was combining a handful of different areas. And now you have to get top 7 at your region. And that's how you qualify to Loretta's. The catch is that you can do backup regions. So I never did a backup. I went to Loretta Lynn's, I think like 14 times. I went so many times. I never not qualified, and I never did a backup, which was extremely rare. So what people do is they'll do like Northeast region. They'll do Southeast region. They might do Mideast. They hit all these different regions to, just in case they botch one, then they can go to the other and qualify. I almost think that shouldn't be allowed, but makes it a little easier for the people that have the money and the time to go be doing that and dancing around. At the qualifiers, you can do quite a few classes. So I'm pretty sure that like at my area and my regional, I think I would do 4 classes probably. And then likely would qualify in all 4, or if not, or let's say I did qualify in all 4, then you have to pick 2 to go to Loretta's in. But if I was qualifying in all 4, at least then I had a buffer to where if I messed up 1 or 2 of them, I still had my 2 classes to be able to race at Loretta's. So with that being said, you can race 2 classes at Loretta's maximum. They have 3 motos each, which I also, at the regional, they have 3 motos. At the area, I don't think they do, but I can't remember. And I think at the regional they do, from what I remember, which is cool because that really is like where consistency kicks in. The best year at Loretta's, in fact, the trophy is right behind me. I got 2nd and 3rd in 250B stock and 250B mod. And my moto scores were not what you would have guessed to get a 2nd and 3rd. I think I only got on the podium in 2 motos out of the 6 motos for the 2 different classes. My moto scores were like 2, 9, 6, and I got 3rd overall because people were that inconsistent, which is fun. It really kind of, the cream rises to the top because you have to be super consistent. So that's who can qualify, how to qualify. If you win your class, what happens after you win? Well, I'll put it this way. I got 2nd and 3rd that year at Loretta's in a class with, you guys can look up the results. This was in 2008. I had, and the list could go on, but it was like Roxon, Barsha, Baggett probably, Dean Wilson. I'm drawing a blank, but I could easily name 10 more names that are like high level dudes, probably killing it in the 450 class right now. And that's who I was racing against. I got 2nd and 3rd that year. I think from what I remember, I got offered an exhaust from FMF. Shout out FMF. Thank you for offering an exhaust. But that was it. That was like the only support that came about after winning Loretta's. So, and the reason for that was probably a couple of reasons. One, I think maybe my dad had a reputation of being a little wild. And so I don't know, like if the teams would have hired me or not, maybe because of my dad, that could have definitely been a factor. And we only did Loretta's and we only did Minios, and that was it. So really the teams and the support was coming from the people that could afford to go to both Texas Nationals, World Mini in Vegas, Florida. There was like Branson, Missouri at one point. You had all these different ones that you really had to go to get the support. And we were only able to afford to go to, we picked Ponca City was one of them. We would go to Loretta's and we would go to Mini-O's in Florida. And those were our two. So personally, I didn't see any support from it. I could have gone my entire amateur career without racing any of those, and I don't think it would have affected me either way. I think that if I have a child that decides to pursue racing, I don't think we'll bother with any of that. I don't think we'll do Loretta's at all. I really don't. So that was the next part of the question. What is the importance of Loretta Lynn's? I would argue that there's not that much importance to it. I think that if you're good and you show up to a pro race and you do well, it doesn't matter how many Loretta's titles you have. It doesn't matter if you never went to Loretta's, you will get noticed immediately. Where, yeah, I don't know. I think you can kind of skip the Loretta step. Is it worth it for vet riders to try and qualify? Now, that's where I would start talking about vet riders or families that want to have the experience. It's a week-long event. It's it is like a village of motocross is created at Loretta Lynn's compound in Tennessee. It's not that far from Nashville, which I think Nashville is awesome. It is absolutely an experience. So if you're going there to like make it and to get noticed, don't advise that necessarily as much. If you want to go for an experience, amazing, great. If you're a vet rider that wants to go for an experience, amazing, great. You have the creek right there. So if you want to get eaten alive by like a water moccasin, by all means, 100%, you can do that. So there you go, Derek. Red Wolf Racing. That is my answer when it comes to Loretta Lynn's. Hopefully that is helpful. Vernon Knowles. We got a question from Vern. Let's hear what he's got. Just doing some thinking on my way to work.
What's up, Moto Academy? Vern here. Hey, Jeff. My local track, the owner recently decided to do a track layout change, and he added a bunch of new cool obstacles. I'm loving the new layout, but on the back side of the track, he added this setup that's more like 2 sets of doubles. So it's basically, you could quad it if you had enough speed and power. But I'm going to double if I can. I did attempt it last time I was out there. Didn't quite have enough speed for the second set. I think I need an upshift in the air before that. But that being said, when you have an obstacle like that that's new to you, is it safer to try to clear the first double by itself and then try to either bail off the track at that point or just scrub the takeoff for the next double? Or should you try to set up to where you can clear both doubles at the same time? What's your thoughts on that? Thanks.
Vern, dude, great, excellent question. I don't know if I've actually ever been asked that question in that exact way, and it is a great topic to talk about. And maybe a situation that a lot of you guys have ended up in before. When you have back-to-back jumps, especially doubles, usually doubles are less forgiving, where if you come up short, it might be a bigger issue. When you have back-to-back jumps, if you go long on the first one or short on the first one, you might have an issue depending on how close that second one is. So I would not advise going in with the strategy of trying to jump both right away your very first attempt. It's very possible, but it's very difficult to do because you will be so nervous and locked in and focused on the first one. It's hard to be able to then recalibrate, look ahead, prepare, and get set up for the second one on your first go. So a good example of that would be in Supercross. If you have like a 3-3 in a rhythm, and this is professional riders trying to time this. It's not often that we would go 3-3 the very first attempt. Usually you go triple, double, single, and then the next time you come around, then you'll time the 3-3. It's just like too much to process all at once. You're trying to multitask, which is never helpful. Separate it into 2 different processes if you can. Now, you got to be able to read the situation. So what does this first jump look like? What does the second jump look like? How far away from each other are there? Is there room to be able to, like you said, maybe jump and avoid it to the side? That would be nice. Is there enough time to be able to land and hit the brakes and just roll the next one nice and slow? Is there, if I go long, do I have room to stop? If I go short, am I going to bounce into the face? go through that checklist, really figure it out, come up with a game plan. All of those things can be an option. Absolutely. But yes, to answer your question, one at a time. I just recently worked with a girl in Florida to get her over a double-double, and it was the same thing. I told her to worry about the first one first. And then after just jumping the first one, I think twice, she went right over the second one, 0 issues. And I think it was same situation for her. She had the shift up in the air. So one thing at a time, jump the jump first, get the timing right, maybe do it 3 or 4 times just to make sure you get the timing right. And then get the upshift dialed in. A really good strategy for doing back-to-back jumps, and this requires getting comfortable, is when you're at the height of your jump on the first one, spot the takeoff and the landing of the second one. And then that will kind of get you on target and get your speed read dialed in for the second one. I do that in Supercross. So when I jump the first triple in a rhythm, I am eyeing up the next one and my landing point in the next one. So when I get in that pocket and it goes blind for a second, I already know how fast I have to go. And it just makes me feel better about the situation. Hopefully that answers your question. Take a video of it, send it through, let me know. Because double-doubles are fun. Back-to-back jumps when you get them dialed in, that's my type of obstacle, without a doubt. Shout out Vern. OG member. Okay, we got a question from Justin Morlam. I have a problem with numbness on my throttle hand about 10 to 15 minutes into a ride. I can shake my hand and get feeling back quickly. Any suggestions on how to solve this problem? I've had people say this. I've had people tell me this actually quite frequently, that it's not arm pump, and it's not even really a cramp, but my hands go numb. That's probably not great. I don't know what that would be. Your bike setup could definitely be way too stiff, and you're just getting all that feeling straight up through your arms. You could also just be death gripping and holding on extremely tight. But even though I just said I've heard that quite often, that is still a rare issue, and that shouldn't be normal. I've never experienced numbness in my hands ever. And he's experiencing numbness in throttle hand. Yeah, maybe he has some nerve issues in that hand. Maybe you are just death gripping the throttle that bad on that hand. But you would think if you were death gripping that bad, you would have a cramping issue or an arm pump issue in that hand. I've had 2 separate issues. One, I used to get arm pump all the time. So that was like straight up just a forearm issue, but these things would puff up like I was Popeye, and the blood would not be able to get back out of them. And I also had an issue where my fingers would hurt so bad, like the bones in my fingers would hurt so bad, and my hands would get stuck. I don't know if you guys have had this happen before. I'll never forget. I was riding for a KTM team in 2012, and we were testing one day at Glen Helen, and when I would stop, I would slide my hands off the bars and then have to pry them open. It started when I was cold, but at Glen Helen that day, it wasn't cold. So I don't know what the deal was, but shout out, just got an order on the website. Love that cha-ching sound from Shopify. And I still to this day don't know what the root of that problem was with the finger cramping. I really don't. So if anybody can advise, let me know, because I would love to know the answer to that. Justin, I am sorry that I don't have the answer for you. Justin Stuck did comment below. He said carpal tunnel syndrome, question mark. My dad had it. Same thing would happen to him. Might be worth checking into. Yeah, definitely worth checking into, because that isn't necessarily a common issue on the bike. Let me like that, make sure I mark it as red. These are great questions, folks. All right, question from Cameron Bradshaw. Love your profile pic in here, unbelievable. What can oversteering in ruts be accredited to? Oversteering in ruts. What does oversteering mean? Like turning the bars too much, then falling inside the turn? So if that's what you're talking about, oversteering in ruts would happen when people think they need to turn the handlebars to get around the corner. Especially when I'm in a rut, I'm not turning the handlebars. I'm squaring my hands up into that triangle position, kind of pushing away in the handlebars, and I'm keeping those bad boys straight. My turn is being initiated with lean angle. If I need to create more lean, so let's say if I need to get turned around a tighter rut, I'm not turning the handlebars more, I'm creating more lean angle. And I'm doing that by using the front brake in the rut to get that bike to lean a little bit more. So your oversteering issue could be happening because you're intentionally trying to steer the bike around the corner. And that leads to all types of different issues. One, usually when you steer the bike in a rut, it actually stands the bike up, which is counterintuitive. Or kind of like a rudder on a boat, like when you're using your arms like this to steer, it brings your inside elbow in right next to your side. So now we're susceptible to falling inside of the bike, which isn't good either. Keep the bar straight, try not to steer, period. Create that lean. Simple answer. Hopefully that makes sense. Shout out Cam. Just ripping right through these. Next question, Mark24. Shout out Mark. Shout out his whole family. Shout out Liv, not Olivia, Liv. We had dinner with them in the UK and it was wonderful. He asked, when I did downhill mountain bike racing, I always covered both brakes. Carry that over into MX as a habit, but for some reason tried to change to not covering the levers. Not sure why. Now, I always cover the clutch, but should I always rest my finger on the front brake, regardless if I am jumping, cornering, or in a straight line? Good question. I ride with my fingers over the controls 95 to 99% of the time, almost always. If you see a picture of me, my fingers are probably here. Few reasons. One, I like to have access to the controls extremely quickly and conveniently. Two, I feel like it helps me hold the bars a little bit less instead of just death gripping. And then three, when I have my fingers on the controls, I do feel like it promotes me holding more in the triangle grip to be able to create that rider triangle instead of the death grip, which really creates and promotes the elbow tuck in, the forearm pull to pull yourself forward, and the back hunch. You can see me even as I sit here in my chair, how I'm doing this as opposed to this. This is how Jet corners. This is the secret to cornering. This is how a lot of the other guys corner. This is how I used to corner my whole life. This is how you get arm pump. This is how you crash. This is how you get tired right away. This is how you make mistakes. So yeah, get in the habit, Mark, of, it's not going to kill you, not having that pointer finger over the front brake all the time, but get in the habit of it. It's only going to help. Now, what I will say is, since my fingers rest there all the time, I am picky about the front brake setup that I have because I've had bikes before where a team would put something on where it would grab just from my finger resting on it. It would be just enough to grab the front brake and therefore my wheel would stop when I was in the air. And I remember, I can't remember what team or what year, there was a year in Supercross where I complained about this for a few weeks straight and nobody believed me. I'm like, I'm taking off and my wheel is stopping in the air. And what it was doing, it was creating like this weird, if my bar was turned and you hit the front brake, it kind of dips you and it dips you like pitch sideways. So it wasn't good. That shouldn't happen on a stock bike. That was just a weird setup that they were trying to put on there. Shout out Mark24. Hopefully that helps. Whew. All right, question from Logan. Shout out Logan. He asked this in a poll in the app, which is kind of cool, so people can answer a poll. Money aside, which Moto boots would you have in your gear bag? Oh, what was the results of this poll? So I'm going to vote. Ooh, okay, so this is very interesting. I voted Fox Instinct. That was only 19%. Alpine Star Tech 10, 58%. I guess not super surprising. Alpine Star Tech 7, 22%. I wore Alpine Star Tech 10s since I was on a 65 at 9 years old. I was size 10 Tech 10 from the time I was 9 years old until, when did I start wearing Fox? 2021? 2022 maybe? I never thought I would switch from Tech 10s because I loved them that much. As soon as I switched to Fox, I'll never wear anything else. The boot feels thinner. It feels lighter. I have more feel in the foot peg. I can get tighter to the frame. It doesn't have a booty, which I think is what creates a lot of that overall feel. I still feel equally as safe. I think they look better. The only real negative to the Fox boot is they smell like cat pee. Guys, I don't know if it's just me. It's not just me. I've heard this from other people. When they get sweaty, the Fox boots smell absolutely insane. That is the only negative. Other than that, I would pick the Fox all day long. And I don't know how much either one costs. I would guess that the Tech 10s probably cost more. But the Fox boots are freaking awesome. Yes, I'm sponsored by Fox. But again, just like Element, I am only sponsored by companies that I would use and pick their product number one, no matter what. If not, what the heck am I doing here? I wouldn't have any integrity as a business owner. So I would choose Fox. I understand why people would choose Tech 10s. I think it's the next logical choice. I understand why people would choose Tech 7s. I think that's one of the next logical choices as well. Those are great boots. The boots that I've seen people have maybe not so good luck with, don't drag me through the mud here, but would be Garnet. And I think that the Garnet is just, there's a lot of plastic on them. And I think people complain that they're extremely stiff and that it's hard to get the feel and contact point with the Garnet boot. The Fox boot does not have that issue. You can feel the shifter perfect. You can feel the brake lever perfect. You feel the foot pegs perfect, which is extremely important. They don't take any break-in time at all. I think the Tech 10s take a little bit of break-in time. And I still feel that complete ankle support with the Fox boot. Now, it's been a while since I wore the Tech 10, so I don't know if I would get back in the Tech 10 and be like, oh, I feel way more safe in this. But I feel safe in the Fox. So, great question. Good poll. That's a good poll question for the app, by the way. All right, Jay Stuck. We got Justin Stuck with a question. Hey, Jay, how cool was it getting to ride with TP189 and do the whole tribute? Let me start that over because I botched it. I need to get some. I am dying over here. Oh. Justin Stuck. Hey, AJ, how cool was it getting to ride with TP199 and do that whole tribute? Rewatching it now, such a cool video. And of course, that was a crazy save at Red Bull Straight Rhythm. Yeah, it's amazing. And I'm so glad that we have not just like the whole Red Bull Straight Rhythm event documented, but what was almost cooler, honestly, was going to Travis's house with my team, all of us learning how to backflip, and me shooting the video with Travis. And I'm sure I've told the story somewhere, but it was amazing. So first of all, let me preface this by saying that I don't even know if I realized this as much until I reflected on it, even until recently. Travis Pastrana was my biggest hero out of anybody. Jeremy McGrath was up there. James Stewart was up there. Kevin Windham was up there. There was names, but Travis was the guy. Everything I did was emulated around Travis. Even I just stopped this recently because Allie made me stop. The thumbs up was because I saw Travis doing the thumbs up. I mean, me wanting to even be intelligent came from watching Travis and being like, wow, he sounds so smart compared to some of these other guys. Like the way he would answer interviews, I just wanted to be that. So Travis was my hero. Is my hero. I mean, business-wise, he's done everything that Travis is the guy. So being able to get his A-OK to do the tribute was amazing. Getting the invite to then go to his house to film this. And then when we get there, to have Travis literally directed the video, which is crazy because that's what I do, right? So like when Travis hops in and he's like putting people here and okay, I'm going to do this. And we're like working together to direct this video. Unbelievable. One of the coolest experiences ever. And I also got to see how he was with people because there's a couple things that happened that day that he handled so extremely well. And I wasn't capable of handling as well then because I was much lower level then. That was a while ago. That was like 5 or 6 years ago. Holy crap. I was pretty low level, very low level then compared to where I have been in the last couple of years. And seeing the way that he would act around people and treat people, he's amazing. There was so many parts about that experience. He had a Red Bull Straight Rhythm track built at his house to practice because he was doing it that year in the 500. I'm on the 125 with the 199. Before we even film the video, we want to get a warm up in. So I go straight to the Straight Rhythm track, of course, because where else am I going to go? And he goes, I'm going to get warmed up. And he's just kind of like doing like, I'm just going to get warmed up over here. And all of a sudden we all turn around and he's getting warmed up on the 75-foot ramp, just doing backflips on the 500. And that was how he got warmed up. And then he came over to the straight rhythm track and we were just like, what the, all right, cool. Different type of human. I got to do a no-footed can and like touch feet in the air, which I would always see him do with like Kenny Bartram in the Nitro Circus videos. Just check. Dream accomplished. It was amazing. If you guys haven't seen any of the content from that, go on my YouTube channel, watch the Red Bull Straight Rhythm event and our vlog from that. I'm sure it was probably pretty entertaining, but the Travis Pastrana Legends Never Die tribute video that we did leading up to the event was sweet. Shout out Jesse that filmed it and produced the whole thing. It was basically, it was a sequel to Legends Never Die that we did the year before with James Stewart, one of my other big heroes. And man, I tell you what, pretty amazing what we were able to accomplish with the video production, the whole kit, the bikes and the bike build from the James Stewart year and the Pastrana year. And then to carry that to the race and to get on the podium both of those years and basically kind of be like the highlight of the event. The James Stewart year, I was doing the dances and I was like the highlight reel of that event. The Pastrana year, almost killed myself, became the highlight reel of that event. So grateful, so lucky that like those all came together the way that they did, because ultimately those are what kind of, made me popular, especially the Pastrana one. So yeah, great question. Great question. There you have it. 37 minute episode. I'm done. I got to eat. I feel lightheaded somehow. Got to get this element in the system. What's going on here? Sign up for class. Sign up for summer camp. Guys, for the 2 people still listening, we're doing summer camp 5 days straight of epic riding, challenges, competitions, relay races, events to win things, film study, team building exercises, character building workouts, absolutely everything for 5 days straight. Yes, you can buy a day pass, but if you're a real man or a real lady, you're showing up for Monday and you're sticking through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Tomahawk MX, July 8th through July 12th. This is going to be the most fun thing that Moto Academy has ever done. We got about 4 or 5 signups just today alone. It's going to be sold out in the next couple of weeks. And shoot, it's coming up in like less than 4 weeks. Don't wait, get signed up. Moto Academy Summer Camp. We're doing Tomahawk MX in West Virginia in July, and we're doing Sunset Ridge in Illinois in August. TheMotoAcademy.com for the 2 people still listening. Don't wait, go sign up. Okay, #1 podcast in motocross, Moto Academy. Out of here. Toodaloo.